Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here. Today I've joined the Trinity Stamps team for a crafty collaboration with Pear Press. We're going to be sharing some amazing interactive projects with you today and giving away some awesome prizes. I can't wait to show you how my card comes together. For my card making project, I gathered some supplies from Trinity Stamps and Pear Press. This new stamp and die collection, Sketchy Nativity, is a simple one that I just love, and it's going to be fun to create with for the upcoming holiday season. I'll also bring in a few other Trinity stamp items like this Argyle stitched background, a sentiment stamp set, and a few other dies. Everything I use on this project will be listed in the description below. Pear Press is known for their interactive card elements, and these lights are one that I've been dying to try. This set comes with 2 halo lights, 4 spotlights, and 6 batteries. Each one has a little button that you can use to light up elements on your paper crafting project. In a moment, I'll show you how these work, but first we need to stamp our images and cut out a few pieces for the card making project. As I do, I'll share more about today's giveaway. I have decided to keep this project simple with a black and white design. I'll be heat embossing on solid black cardstock, so I need to brush anti-static powder over the top before I stamp the image. Now, don't worry about the discoloration here. I'll show you a trick to remove this once we're done. I'm going to ink up the Sketchy Nativity stamp with clear embossing ink and stamp it with my Misty. I'm going to pour some fine white embossing powder over the top, then I'll tap off the excess. I like to place my heat tool below the image. This prevents the powder from getting disturbed before the plastic particles melt. Once that powder is smooth and shiny, I can move on to the next section. Before I cut this out, I want to show you how to remove the white powder caused by the anti-static brush. I'm going to take a clean blending brush and run this over the image in a circular motion. This is going to pick up the excess clay powder and bring back our deep black color. All right, I'm going to cut this out real quick with the matching die set. I'm also going to go off camera real quick and heat emboss my star image onto black cardstock and the joy sentiment onto red. Today's card design is a 6x6 card. The Argyle background is 5.4 by 6.4. I'm going to create the impression of this design on some thick white cardstock. I am going to trim this up to 5 by 6, and then I'll bring in a border die cut to cut some scallops for the side of the card. This new die collection is the Emergency Essentials die set from Trinity Stamps. It has a bunch of basic pieces that card makers use frequently on their card designs. Not only will I be using the scallop die, I'm also going to use one of the nested circles to cut out the opening for my halo light. This one here's the perfect size. The scallop border is only 5.5 inches long, so I'm going to extend the length of the border by running this through twice in the Spellbinder machine. I'm securing the die to a 6.25 inch piece of cardstock. I'm going to place the top plate over the top and run it through part way. I want to stop right before the end of the die. Now I'm going to move the die over and line it up with the image I already cut, then I'll secure it in place with mint tape. Once again, I'll place the top plate over the top and run it through part way. By doing this, I now have a longer border for my card. I'm going to cut 8 of these borders, and then I'll show you how to assemble our interactive nativity card. Here are the parts and pieces you're going to need to make the card. We have the argyle background cut at 5 by 6 inches, a 6 by 6 piece of cardstock that's going to represent my card base. I have 8 scallop borders, a piece of vellum, the heat embossed nativity image, a heat embossed star, and a circle die to cut the hole for our halo light. I've also grabbed my lights, the batteries, and a stamp from Pear Blossom Press to add the word press to our card. So let's take a look at these awesome little interactive elements. As you can see, they are very easy to separate. In fact, they're already starting to pop apart as I hold them. I was worried about damaging the spotlights, so I brought in my die nippers and cut right along the perforated line. Now, this is the first time that I'm using these, so I did have to do a little bit of research. I was happily surprised how easy they are to use. Pear Blossom Press had plenty of videos on their website. There are enough batteries in the kit for all 6 lights. These little button batteries slide right in like a coin into a coin slot. I'm going to add a battery to this one too real quick. Each light has a little button, and when pressed, it lights up the elements. How fun is that? The halo light has a ring of lights, and the spotlight has one bright one. One of the hardest parts of the whole project was planning my design with that push button in mind. Here's what the finished design will look like, but my original thought was to place the opening over here on the left. I wanted the star above Mary's head where there was more room. Now, if I had done this, the push button would be right here, and that would be difficult to label. So I had to move everything over here instead. I'm going to line up my circle die with the placement of the halo light, and then I'll secure it in place and run it through my die cut machine. Before I adhere that light in place, I need to add the scallop borders to the card. Remember, the argyle background is cut smaller than the card base, so I need to make up for that extra space. These scallops are the perfect addition. To make adhering these in place easier, I am adding strips of double-sided tape to the side of my card panel. The first scallop border is going to sit right here along the edge. I cut my borders longer than 6 inches because I'm offsetting them slightly. Now, as I continue to add these to the card, I want to share more about the giveaway. To celebrate this crafty collaboration with Pear Blossom Press and Trinity Stamps, both companies are giving away $25 prizes. All you have to do to be entered to win is leave a comment at each stop along our InstaHop lineup and YouTube lineup before October 16th. We would also love it if you subscribe too, but that's not required to enter to win. In the description below is a list of those participating in the YouTube Hop today and a link to my InstaHop post so that you can join the fun there too. Alright, so now the scallops are added and it's time to put the card together. First, I need to mark the location of the halo light and the press button. I'm going to use a pencil to mark where my opening sits, and then I'll bring in the halo light so that I can make a small mark where the button sits. I'm going to temporarily secure the light in place with some mint tape so that it doesn't shift, and make a tiny little tick mark right here. I need to stamp the word push onto my card panel before I add the rest of the elements. Pear Blossom Press sent me the perfect little stamp set for this. The stamps say push, pull, remove, press, press here, scratch off, and handmade for you. Now here's the fun part. This is where we add that halo to our project. I'm going to add some liquid adhesive to the back. You could also use double-sided tape. Using liquid adhesive gives me a little wiggle room to move this around and line it up with the opening on the front of the card. I'm going to erase those pencil marks real quick and I'll adhere my vellum in place. Now I'm going to bring in another new product that was sent to me. This world famous foam tape from Pear Press has got to be my new favorite. Now I don't say that very often, but I do really like the fact that it's repositionable for up to 30 minutes. After 24 hours, it is permanent. This is great for card makers and scrapbookers alike. Now, I can't tell you how many times I have stuck something down with foam tape, especially a card panel or a shaker card, and then I realized that it was completely crooked, or I changed my mind. Now, this is a large panel, so I'm adding a lot of foam tape around the halo light. I don't want to cover any of the lights, so I need to move this one real quick. I really like that this tape is repositionable. It is going to be a new must-have in my craft room. So let's bring in that top panel and lay it in place. This is going to take me a second to line up. Let's go ahead and push that button and see what happens. It works perfectly. Since I already added dimension with foam tape, I'm not going to add much to the front. Behind Mary and Joseph, I'm adding a 1mm foam, which is super thin. This is going to allow me to tuck a few things behind them. For my sentiments, I have the word joy and to the world. The large word joy came with the Sketchy Nativity set. The phrase to the world is part of a new sentiment collection that I recently used on a shaker card. My star is going to sit right here in the center of the vellum, and check that out. It glows. At this point, you can leave the card as is, but I feel like it needs something to ground the image. I'm just going to tuck a few leaves that I cut from the Garden Flowers die set. To finish it off, I'm going to add some green baubles. Red would also look nice, but I didn't have any that matched my card. How amazing is this card design? It's such a simple yet elegant nativity card with a stitched background, but there's an unexpected surprise. Press here, and the star lights up our whole design. I hope you enjoyed today's project featuring Pear Press and Trinity stamps. For more inspirational ideas, hop along here on YouTube and over on Instagram for a chance to win one of the prizes. In the description below are links to the YouTube channels of the Trinity Stamps team and a link to my Instagram post where you'll find another list of crafty creators sharing their creations. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions about this project or the supplies I used, feel free to leave that in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.